So I'm actually gonna plan a couple I hate videos on channels. Look, I don't hate a lot of channels, but there are some that I have liked for quite a long time, and I cannot bear to not speak of why I have become disappointed in them. I've loved Electric Dragon 505, aka Animat, for many years. His channel is really well informed. He is a man that you can tell loves animation and the craft of it. But the way he reviews movies is just kind of eh. And I don't like him as a critic. And I want to express why this is and why a lot of the things he says are kind of bullcrap. So here we go. First off, his system of reviewing movies. Now, I still should state, some of his content's actually good. Some of his reviews are good, but just his system of reviewing movies is not very good, and it doesn't allow for much criteria to be met for what actually makes a good film. And, you know, like, if I were to talk about the cinematography in a movie, and how would Animat put that in his reviews? Because here's his three categories of reviewing movies: the animation, the characters, and the story. First off, he marks movies down, like Yellow Submarine, for not really having that great of characters or whatever. Like, he's like, well, I mean, his points are valid, but, like, the movie isn't about characters. It's dumb to mark a movie down because, wow, it doesn't have characters. Not every movie has to have characters. That's not how stories work, like Yellow Submarine, The Point, or some other movies like it. You know, not every movie has characters. Not every movie's about story. If I gave you the plot of Fantastic Mr. Fox, not a great story, you would think. But the story is about the characters, not about the actual sequence of events. That is the point of Fantastic Mr. Fox, okay? So when I say that movie is not very good plot-wise, it's kind of dumb to mark it down points for that. Also, again, cinematography, music. Like, if it's a musical, he'll add music to it. But what about the score? Like, he doesn't ever talk about the score, right? He doesn't talk about the acting. Even in an animated film, there is acting. It's called voice acting. He doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about all these other things because he's had this simple freaking criteria for what makes a good film for many, many years, and it's a garbage system. Because, I mean, yeah, I would say, okay, these are the essentials to making a good animated movie for the most part. For the most part. There are movies that are exceptions and outliers to it. So, he also has said many statements. Now, a lot of people hate that he has such this big hatred for Sony Pictures Animation. Look, their movies are not very good, okay? They're just not. A lot of their movies are freaking terrible. You know, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs okay. Spider-Verse is okay. Surf's Up is actually pretty good. Well, Spider-Verse isn't okay. It's freaking amazing. It's Surf's Up that's okay. But, you know, some of these other movies, but, you know, a lot of their other movies are garbage. They're pretty bad, okay? So, here's the thing. A lot of his movies are not very well. Well, a lot of their movies aren't very good, but he has said comments, well, they're the reason animated films are respected, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And he's right on that. Animated films aren't respected because when they make crap like the Emoji Movie, that's what adults think that animation is. This kids' medium that's meant to spit out crap like the Emoji Movie. But if you sit there and tell me all their movies suck, and yet you're sitting there reviewing Illumination films like Despicable Me highly, and he's like, well, they're I can't remember what video this was, but he said like Despicable Me and those types of movies have an understanding of you need to have characters and blah 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 and stuff. Tell me, are you do you remember Gru? Do you remember half of the girls' names? Like I think Agnes is one of them. I think. Like, you couldn't name those people. Do you think the Minions is about freaking characters? Do you think... Okay, Secret Life of Pets is about characters, but... Like, that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is to be comedic. So, he's just kind of like making up garbage to defend the movies. Look, if you like these movies, man, whatever. But you can't yell at one studio for doing the same thing that you're praising for another studio doing. They're not making films that have stories. They're not. They're not stories. It boggles my mind. He also is a very opinionated person, and I myself am a very opinionated person, but like his opinions are just kind of like, okay, bro, you're stating this like it's a freaking fact and like you have actual evidence to back this up, but you don't. He's done that a few times. He is does a lot of research though, so a lot of his reviews and a lot of his animation lookbacks are really good because and research wise, I don't mean like in terms of what he's saying, because a lot of the research the animation lookbacks are definitely fantastic because he's able to go through these things and he's done so much research and you can feel it in the actual video and you can see it in the video, and he has all these sources and things like that. Like he digs deep to find this information out there, and it's really interesting and fascinating. But when you think about freaking his reviews, it's just like I hate him as a critic because what he has to say isn't that interesting or insightful. He's not really pointing out anything new majority of the time, and he's always, animation needs to be more respected. Look, bro, I agree that animation needs to be more respected, but you can't just call out every movie because it's a dumb kids movie or whatever. Like Smallfoot has a lot to say and it is a smart movie. You may not like it or whatever, that's fine, that's totally whatever, but like just to say, wow, it's just a stupid kids movie except for this aspect or whatever. He has a lot of issues, minor issues with movies that just a lot of people wouldn't have because he's just, I don't know, I don't want to say he's too critical, but I just think he's too harsh about stuff. And like, he needs to be kinder to movies. Like, you're marking down a movie, again, to go back to Yellow Submarine thing, you're marking down this movie for the problems. There aren't problems, because that's not a problem with Yellow Submarine. That isn't about characters, that it isn't a story, right? That's not the point of the movie. You're marking it down points for not doing that, though. But this movie is fantastic. And he still gave the movie a positive grade, but he's still like, when you actually look at his score for this stuff, it's like, I marked it down for this. And it's like, bro, what you're saying is dumb. Okay? Everyone knows this movie's not about characters or whatever. Okay, everyone knows that. You can't mark it down for that because that's the entire point. That's like me marking down, what's a good one to think of? I'm trying to think of it. There's movies that are like purposely bad, like there's movies like that are made to be so bad. Like that's the point of the movie. For me to mark it down for being bad would just be dumb because the movie is intentionally being bad. I could say, well, I don't like it because it's intentionally trying to be bad and it's just not funny. That's fine, but like, this is what the movie is. You need to acknowledge the movie for what it is and review it on the basis of what it is. And if what it is doesn't work, then you need to express that. And you're trying to insert your way of reviewing things into every movie when it doesn't work for every movie. It doesn't offer the same viewpoint with every movie. You just can't have that observation wow, this movie needs to be reviewed like this. I review every movie on a movie by movie basis, and yeah, I just can't do it the way you're doing it, bro.